But I think more than ever before, we've got to be men and women of God and say, we don't care what's politically correct. We don't care what the mainstream media says. We care what God says. We care what God says. You say, Sam, well, you don't understand. Like these people that I hang out with, and listen to me today, I'm not saying you can't have friends who are unbelievers. You should. We have a vision here, one more. How are you going to reach one more if you don't know any unbelievers? But I will say this. Think about Jesus, because someone's going to find me in the lobby. They're going to say, what about the life of Jesus? Jesus hung out with unbelievers all the time. Absolutely. But who did he hang out with the most? The 12 disciples. And who did he hang out with even more than that? The inner circle of 3. He was not influenced by the unbelievers. He influenced the unbelievers. Now, some of you today say, Sam, well, you don't understand. Like these people celebrate me. These people affirm me. These people cheer on my decisions. Can I just tell you, you might want to be careful because the book of Romans talks about that there'll be a day and age where people not only do the acts that God has spoke against, but they will celebrate them. And you better make sure, listen, I don't need people in my life to always cheer me on. I need some people sometimes to tell me what I need to hear, even though I don't want to hear it. And you better examine, and you better check, and you better make sure it's not a circle of people who are cheering you on to hell and are cheering you on to the things of the enemy, instead of cheering you on to the things of God and to heaven one day. Now, some of you say, well, Sam, like, because this usually comes up, Sam, you don't understand. When I'm at the bar, I'm witnessing to people. I'm sharing the gospel with people. Somebody's going to find me after this and ask this question. And here's what I would say. I was just in Boston, and I was with the church planter. Less than 3% are believers of Jesus Christ, so he's spending time with all kinds of people, and he shared this story. He said one night he was at a house, and everyone in the house got hammered, and when he left that night, him and his wife had a conversation. They said, hey, how are we going to do this? Because we want to reach them, but we also don't want to be here where maybe we're crossing a line. And he said they decided that they're going to go places, but once they realized that the line is being crossed of people going too far, they would leave. And that was the decision they would make. You say, Sam, you don't understand. I've had some of the best conversations about Jesus when I'm drunk. Y'all have heard that before. Let me ask you a question. What happened after that when you had a sober conversation? Did anything change after that? And here's where I would warn you. Stop putting yourself in situations where you're going to fall into the same mistakes that you're trying to pull people out of. Because if you're not careful, they will look at you, and instead of you influencing them, they will influence you, and they will say this: I do not need their God. They do the same things I do, so why do I need their gods? And all I'm trying to warn us today is this: do not put yourself in situations where you will sin against God when you're trying to reach people out of sin, because it does the opposite of what you're trying to do.